February 8th, God continues giving the law to Moses. Some laws apply to Israel corporately, while others govern individual behavior. They are for the people's benefit, yet at the same time, the laws reflect God's holiness. They are summarized by chapter 22, verse 31. You shall be holy men to me. Note that God's directive in chapter 23, verse 23, to destroy the 6 tribes that they will encounter in the coming months do not reflect God's attitude for all of the non-Jewish tribes of the area. From chapter 22, verse 21, and from chapter 23, verse 9, we see a strict prohibition on the mistreatment of foreigners. But these 6 tribes have set themselves up against God, are utterly evil, and their detestable practice, such as child sacrifice, pose a lethal threat to Israel's survival as God's distinct instrument of world redemption. God himself will deal with these pagan nations, using the Hebrews to accomplish a justified purpose. Hundreds of years later, it will be King Solomon's violation of this law and intermarrying with these pagan cultures that will ultimately be responsible for Jerusalem's destruction and Israel's captivity. Finally, we see an amazing event. Just as God ratified the covenant with Abraham in the covenant ceremony in Genesis chapter 15, verse 17, in our January 5th reading, we see God ratify this legal covenant with a new nation as the nobles of Israel, the people's representatives, were brought up onto the mountain, allowed to see a manifestation of God, and even enjoy a covenant meal in his presence. Nowhere else does this occur in all of Scripture. God has so much to show them, and all of them, Moses, the nobles, and the people, are experiencing life-altering revelation with unprecedented specificity and velocity. As we will see in our reading just 3 days from now, on February 11th, the people are clearly not ready for it. Their mindset is still stuck in the past. Their understanding of God's abilities and his intentions for them are still extremely limited. But God's plan for world redemption must be implemented. And so God presses on, calling Moses up to the mountain for another 40 days to provide greater details of things to come. God has much to show us, much more than we can handle. He desires to be known. Have you ever considered why God desires to be known? The answer is clear from Scripture: to benefit us. To know him is really the only way that we can experience the life the way it was intended and designed to be lived. To know God, even a little bit, is to get an aroma, a taste, and a glimpse of authentic living. Knowing God and walking with him daily, experiencing his presence and his favor, is the only way one can live life to its fullest extent. Here's today's application. Do you thirst for God's revelation to you? If not, consider this. Do you thirst for authentic living, the fullness of life, life the way that it was intended to be lived? If so, understand that they are one in the same. Pursue him today. Here's today's prayer.